Yo, yo, what is going on? We're live. Cleanpin, talking about everything and anything, all things wrestling related. Let's hold 1 second here while we get audio version up and rolling here. Do take a minute. I would greatly appreciate it to hit the like button. It would definitely mean a lot to me. Hit the notification bell. It will give you a definitely and clearer understanding of when I'm uploading. That way you will never miss a beat, a step, especially if you like wrestling. I'll be doing Cleanpin. We're a couple of episodes in. I believe we're close to 50 now. I have to look back because I was numbering them. Almost a year's worth of wrestling news and rumors, but we don't have a specific date. So it's we don't have a specific day or specific rotation or a specific day of the week that we do this. So it's very important if you hit the notification bell. You know exactly when I'll be talking wrestling. And we talk wrestling for about an hour here. Try to hit everything, things that I didn't cover in the past week. So, and we are joined now by audio version, Spreaker, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. So wow, haven't done an episode in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks. I think March 5th was the last episode I did, and there has been a lot that I really want to talk about. Try to condense everything in about 45 minutes to an hour, so we'll see what we could get through here. Maybe even an hour and a half, if depending on how the vibe is going. Maybe even 2 hours we will do. We'll see. The night is very young, as I like to say. But where do we begin? Think if we work our way, because obviously some of this news it's older news, but I still want to do comment on it. Work our way. I think from the news that hit earlier on in the day, and this was actually, if I'm not mistaken, this was through the Corey Graves podcast, After the Bell, I believe it was. It's After the Bell, where he was interviewing Eric Bischoff, and that's when they broke the news to Eric Bischoff that he is going into the 2021 class of Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff, who, by the way, as a I don't know, he seemed to like really age the last, I don't know, like last year or two. And I know that he was working in WWE for a second stint, and it didn't last too long. I wonder if working for Vince and all of that kind of did him in, because he got some grays going on now. He just looks older in the face. I don't know, just me. Nonetheless, though, a legend. Bischoff, latest name for the Hall of Fame. Before he was confirmed as the inductor for the two-time entrance, the NWO, which was, Hollywood, Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall 6. And that was supposed to be for the 2020 ceremony. As that ceremony never took place, and the 2020 class will be inducted alongside the 2021 class. So it's going to be a bigger class, two classes into one TV event. All those speeches, so you could very damn well guarantee that the night will go on forever. Um, Being inducted this year, also, it's going to be Molly Holly, which I do want to speak about. The British Bulldog, Bella Twins, JBL, Jushin Thunder Liger, and Batista. Now, Bischoff's first role was working in American Wrestling Association sales department in '87. That's where he started. Debuted as a backstage interviewer in '89 when a guy by the name of Larry Nelson became unavailable for a show at the very last minute. So who do you have? Well, you get the sales guy there, Eric Bischoff. He remained on the broadcast team until the company closed down in '91. So from then on, because of that, Bischoff, it opened up the door for Bischoff to be a kind of a low-level announcer in WCW. Applied for the role of vice president of wrestling operation when Bill Watts resigned in '93. Quickly rose up as a senior vice president, which put him in charge of WCW. So what Bischoff was able to do, Bischoff had charisma. Bischoff knew how to present himself, knew how to make everyone essentially listen to what he had to say. So Bischoff convinced the company owners to invest more money, put them on networks against the WWF, and to completely overhaul their productions. He lured guys like Hulk Hogan out of retirement, as other talent from other rival companies. I think his biggest creation, if you look at Eric Bischoff, that was WCW Monday Nitro, which was the broadcast that was going up the times when wrestling was phenomenal. That was, when they were going up against, WWF Raw. Side by side. Now, things truly moved in his favor when he implied guys like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash had been sent, by WWF to disrupt WCW. That's kind of where it all started for Bischoff, and the rest, I guess, is proverbial history. He's a guy that kind of pushed the envelope, right? Holding events in unlikely places and trying to create controversy for ratings. It's all about the ratings. Controversy creates cash. So goes the saying. He eventually, with all these talents and outside talents coming together, he had this whole storyline of disrupting WCW, which became the NWO and Hollywood Hogan. When Hogan joined the trio, and that stable became one of the hottest acts in modern history. Bischoff helped WCW turn a profit for the first time, and because of that, he was made company president. Things took a downward turn in '99. The company did close in 2001. So he's the guy. Remember, uh, red hot with competing with Stone Cold. You had the NWO, and during that time, people talk about the Wednesday night wars where you're complaining, you're comparing products that are getting less than a million views, and you're thinking that this is wars. It's definitely not wars. I remember growing up. That's when you had the wars. When you had um, WCW Nitro and WWF Raw, you would, you know, switch between commercials to see peak what was going on, and you had ratings of in the 3 millions, 4 millions. Um, Nothing like this, but eventually, kind of things did go south, and the rest was history, where WWF did become the eventual winners. But Bischoff, after WCW folded, he kind of resurfaced in 2002 as the general manager for WWE's War brand. His hiring was kept a secret until it was revealed live on air. A lot of fans and insiders, back then, kind of they want to pride themselves on knowing stuff. Well, no one knew. No one knew. People thought that he was really an on-screen personality only, but they thought it would be. They took it as differently. He had no management, no creative involvement whatsoever. Um, Yet he can always continues to be kind of blamed for the bad decisions that were made while he was there. Um, he also continues to receive credit for ideas that had nothing to do with him, including Elimination Chamber and Raw Roulette. That has nothing to do with Bischoff. He kept the role for almost 3 years until he was literally dumped by Vince McMahon into the back of a garbage truck. From that point on, he would only make sporadic appearances to promote his book. Controversy creates cash, like we said earlier, until his contract ran out. He did return for a very brief feud with DX and a few one-off appearances since. In 2009, him and Hulk Hogan took up management roles in TNA Wrestling. The next 3 years would be considered the worst period in the company's history. And Hogan and Bischoff at this point continually criticized owner Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett, saying that they promoted the company poorly. And that didn't work out. Sometimes not everything works out. Even the best of the best can't make things happen. In 2019, Bischoff became the genuine executive director of WWE SmackDown brand. And, that's kind of, I think, where Eric Bischoff aged, where he's been. I remember him always with the slick black, with the slick back black hair, and now he's with the crew cut gray hair going all over the place. Say what you want to say about Eric Bischoff. He is so far really the only person to challenge Vince McMahon's hold over, the professional wrestling industry. No one has come close. Paul Heyman, as much as everyone loves Paul Heyman, I don't think it's Paul Heyman. Tony Khan, you guys in AEW, as much as an AEW fan that I am, AEW Tony Khan definitely got some things to work on. That's for sure. That is for sure. Molly Holly also makes the WWE Hall of Fame. Molly Holly, I think, when you look at her, her career wasn't that long in WWE. She was, if you look at her, she was, and you could say the same for, like, let's say a Beth Phoenix, right? She kind of seems to be in the, or she was a, a good wrestler in the wrong period of time. She was in a period of time in the WWE during her main run in WWE was at a time when, women's wrestling in WWE was not not taken seriously. They were going more so for the looks than the actual um, wrestling. So there were a couple of things that they did with her. Her first major run in the company, Molly Holly, right, where she joined her cousins, Bob Holly and Crash Holly. This is all obviously not her real cousins. It was her on-screen cousins, and these three, the Holly cousins, if you remember, they were involved with her feud in with TNA. So it was Test Albert and Trish Stratus. So Stratus, and Molly Holly worked. That was kind of like the big first thing for Molly Holly, and well, actually, Holly actually says that that Trish was one of her favorite to work with. Um, he went back and forth for a good couple of matches too. Um, in 2001, then you had Molly doing on-screen a relationship with Spike Dudley. I mean, it's, remember, it's entertainment, and that's what they were going for, and they really weren't pushing women's wrestling all that well. So she would have, I think, thrived, been a lot better, like in NXT right now, like in WWE right now, in the era that they're in now. And I put Beth Phoenix in there as well. But she also became Molly Holly, which, like Mighty Mouse, remember Mighty Mouse had the gimmick at the Cape, flying around being Mighty, the Mighty Mouse, squeak, squeak. Well, she was Mighty Molly. And Mighty Molly was the sidekick, if I remember correctly, of Hurricane Helms. Hurricane Helms. What's up with that? And it was for what it was. It is it. It was a comedy. It was comedy. It again, wrong era. Wrong era for Molly Holly. She did win. She did have some feuds there with Victoria as well later on. By 2004, that was her final pay-per-view, appearance. I think by 2005, she was completely um, done with WWE. So, she even, or at least it was mentioned, or if it was said that she kind of left in 2005 because she kind of was disenchanted with WWE. Kind of, again, just for that reason, where she kind of felt that she was on the sidelines and that they weren't really looking at her wrestling ability or focusing on wrestling ability, but rather, looks. Um, she also hated that her character kind of became a villain or a bad character, and but she went on to later deny it. That's what the rumors were. But you know, her becoming going into the Hall of Fame, I have no problem with it. One of the better woman wrestlers. Um, Although remember that she did have a career in WCW before she came to WWE. Now, a little AEW that I want to get into as well, and didn't have a chance to kind of give you my thoughts on the Revolution, the pay per view, the pay per view that they had, which came off as a dud. Twitter, um, Reddit, YouTube just completely went off on it. Fellow wrestlers went off on it, and just everyone went off on it. But the first thing we seen Christian coming to AEW. Was he became the big surprise that they were hyping up throughout the whole show, that someone big is going to sign, someone Hall of Fame worthy was going to sign with the company, and it turned out to be Christian Cage. Um, what Christian, and from what I understand, it was a full term. It was a long term contract rather, so that's more than a year. It could be 2 years. I'm not sure exactly how long, maybe 2 or 3 years. And apparently that he's doing this full time. He was doing a podcast, after the pay per view, where he said that, listen, that he would not be doing this. He would not be coming into the ring if he didn't think that he could do it. He would not be coming into the ring if he thought that he would be embarrassing himself, and if he'd be embarrassing his family. So now, when you look at it, Christian, as far as him being the surprise, I think maybe AEW overhyped it a little bit. I think automatically. And listen, is it? Listen, the internet was running rampant with speculation. No one really thought it would be Christian per se as the big announcement. I think a lot of fans felt disappointed that that's what it was. Not that they hate Christian. I think if he was um, in addition to, they would have been happy with that. Not, I think through obviously no, the rumor was, what I heard, what people were talking on the internet, is they thought that it would be Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar's merchandise is no longer apparently on WWE's website, and Brock Lesnar's a free agent. So that's who they thought, would be um, coming. It was Brock Lesnar. I heard different names. Brock Lesnar. Some other names were thrown out there as well, but it wasn't Christian. It was not Christian. So I think that's where, fans were a little bit upset. But hey, listen, should AEW be blamed? I mean, AEW wanted people wanted publicity, wanted people to open up their eyes and take a peek at who is going to sign. Well, why not buy the pay per view? And that's, I'm sure, what happened. A lot of people were hearing, a lot of maybe some casual fans were saying, a new wrestler is supposed to come in, this Hall of Famer, former champ. Let me take a peek. Let me buy the pay per view. I'm staying home, nothing to do, COVID, and can't go anywhere. So I'm sure they got a few buys out of it, few extra eyes. And heck, maybe some people, after they seen the pay per view, hopefully they decided to stay. They decided to stay and watch, became fans. So listen, I mean, you can't blame AEW. They wanted publicity and people to watch, and that's what happened. It got a buzz. The fans kind of the fans kind of took it and ran with it. And they made their assumptions and speculations on who it could be, and they got themselves all hyped up. That's on them. That's not AEW's fault. They never told you who was coming. But and as far as Christian Cage signing with AEW again, like I thought that Christian Cage would definitely be um, a lifer. I thought that when he came back, um, when he came back, I thought, and you've seen the interaction. It felt special when you seen him, when you seen Edge and you seen Christian at the Rumble, looking at each other side by side, like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Full circle. Both guys never thought that they would be cleared to wrestle. Never thought that they'd be wrestling again, and there they are. They were wrestling again at the Royal Rumble, and as a fan, you automatically, kind of um, were having these dream scenarios, these dream matches running through your head. Oh, Edge and Christian, maybe they could team up and they could face guys like the Usos, or they could face the New Day, or what if Christian went into NXT and he faced this guy and he faced that guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And I think as much as we thought about those dream matches, I think Christian was thinking about those matches as well. And I think it came to a shock. I think it came to a shock to Christian that they weren't able to come to an agreement, him and the WWE. Now, how far did it get? How far did it get? Did Christian maybe want a full-time deal and WWE didn't want to give him that? Did Christian want more money and WWE didn't want to give him that? What exactly caused the talks to break down, which is something that I don't think we'll ever truly find out until we get one of these shoot interviews down the road from Christian when he's long and retired. So it's weird. it's weird. I thought he would be, and I thought the WWE would, and I'm not saying that they don't, but I thought for one of these guys that WWE would go all out and try to make him come back here, and he could have been involved in the program with Edge and Roman Reigns in some regards. You knew that would be a possibility that they could incorporate him, and just didn't work out. It just did not work out, and I maybe they're weary. Maybe they're weary of how safe is really Christian, and they're worried. They're worried. Maybe sometimes the risk is too great that it's not worth the reward in their eyes. They're weird with like certain wrestlers. Like WWE is weird with like Mickey James. Weird with you know they were weird with guys like Axel, and weird with guys like even the revival now, and the Hardy Boys. So there always seems to be like some type of like where it's so like there's something sometimes with these relationships where as much as there is value to these guys in our eyes, the WWE kind of sees like that they've got the most out of them, and it's weird. It's weird. It's especially a guy that has been prominently featured on panels and stuff like that in Christian, that they would not even try to kind of you know maybe meet him halfway, or again, we don't know the exact details, but um, what can you say? What can you say? So that broke as well as far as WWE, and I think Christian, you know, um, he will do good. He will do good. I don't really get. I don't really like why they automatically throw him into the title picture after not wrestling for years, except for one match. And it kind of already makes it predictable if he's, who's winning. And I don't think Christian has no chance, honestly. I don't think he's going to embarrass himself, because he's kind of definitely just from listening to their podcasts and his interviews, he has a mind for wrestling, and he's a good storyteller. Now, and he knows his body more than we do. So happy for Christian that he is able to kind of relive his dream and kind of end his career on his terms. Now, as we take a short break here, let me run a clip here for you guys. Wrestling related. Let's see if we can find something here for you. There we go. This is from Cleanpin, and I do welcome you guys to leave me your comment, your thoughts, and your questions down below. Let's go old school here. Let's see. All right, we're going to talk about some old school, some Paul Roma. We'll be right back. Paul Roma is so underrated that people forget about him. Underrated Paul Roma.
Roma began working his earliest matches for the WWF in December of '84. He had almost everything a promoter could want in talent. He was tall, handsome, muscular physique, and athletic, talented, hardworking, charismatic, and instantly popular with live crowds. The two things he lacked were experience and a reputation. The WWF figured that he could gain both of those through time. As was with tradition, Roma worked a preliminary talent before he was offered a formal contract. He was often booked to win against other preliminary talents and jobbers, but took losses against established talents. He began a push in a tag team with S.D. Jones to ready him for television in early '87. He was
Oh, sorry guys, Paul Roma here. What happened to Paul Roma? One second, guys. Oh, Paul Roma, come on. Boy, sometimes the internet does stink, don't it? Let's see. Awkward. All right. Let's see here. Oh, dead air, dead air. Sorry, podcast audio form, video form. You guys are probably laughing. Audio version here, I'm sorry. It's literally, this is buffering now. Let's see. Let's see. Let's give you guys another video. How about talking about Sting signing with AEW? Are you excited? Hopefully that works. Oh, man. Let's see. No, that is not going to work. Okay, guess I wasn't meant to have a break here. We'll continue. Because I'm a professional podcaster. What I do. By the way, do hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube. It means a lot to me. From the Bleachers Sports Show. So, we had Christian appear on that pay-per-view for AEW. middle later on in the night, and then the grand finale. We had the Moxley um, Kenny Omega brawl. Somehow, the fan suspension of disbelief. The announcers were pushing, kind of stirring the pot, keeping it going, saying that if both wrestlers are not out of the ring by X amount of time, that the ring was going to explode. Right, so naturally, and the intention was good. Just the execution is what kind of was not good. I want to give you my thoughts on it. So obviously, what happened. The ring was going to explode if the guys do not leave the ring by a certain period of time. Approaching the final countdown, and the only guy that's left in the ring is Jon Moxley. You have the countdown going. Eddie Kingston, who was at odds with Jon Moxley, is now in the ring. And Eddie Kingston winds up jumping on Jon Moxley, trying to save him or protect him. Because Moxley is too knocked out from taking a beating to stand up, and the ring is now going to explode. So you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that was supposed to be this big finale. And unfortunately, what happened with the pyro, it was literally a dud. It was the equivalent of holding one of those sparklers on the 4th of July. That was your explosion, the sparklers. And Eddie Kingston is still laying on Moxley because he was expecting, as was everyone else, a big blast. But instead, you get the equivalent of sparklers on 4th of July. So now what do? Eddie Kingston is still selling this as if he got blown up, as if he got blown away. But it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. And Eddie Kingston, consummate professional, was selling it, but it made Kingston and Moxley look like complete idiots. At that point, some audible should have been called where now instead of some audible should have been called where you have someone coming down the ring and explaining or kind of putting a twist on exactly what just happened. And I know this is all hindsight because pay-per-view happened a week ago already. But they could have said, someone could have came out, someone could have said, hey, listen, you guys are fools. Look at you in the middle of the ring thinking that the ring was going to explode. I played mind games on you and I won. You guys are silly. Get out of the ring before you embarrass yourselves even further. Something like that could have come out, been done, and audible on the fly to kind of correct the situation, which made your guys look like fools. And I feel bad for Eddie Kingston. Because he looked like a complete buffoon selling the sparklers, but he went through with it and a consummate professional. But I feel bad for Eddie Kingston because that was going to be his big turning face type of a moment, and it was ruined. And they did in in the weeks since, um, they did as far as and Kingston is going to be a good face. Um, it's going to be a very good face because he has a real his promo is real. It's a real promo. He's probably, if not one of the best promo talkers in the company. He is definitely the most realist promo talker, most real. His promos are real, and they're definitely an extension of himself. So Kingston being face is a good thing moving forward. And by God, thank goodness for getting. And I never got that combination. I never got with them. Thank goodness they got Kingston away from the Butcher, the Bunny, and the Blade. I never understood that damn pairing to begin with. Um, but yeah, Kingston is going to be a good. It's going to be a good face. And as we are approaching here at 45 minutes, we still have a good couple of minutes here left to dive into matters here. Um, Again, guys, any questions, any comments that you have? Maybe you would like to see my wife in a future video here because she is a big wrestling fan as well. We could hear a woman's perspective on wrestling, which I think everyone would like to hear. Um, you know, questions come, and of course we do cover wrestling throughout the week. There are like to usually post some old school wrestling videos as well throughout the week. But yeah, I felt bad for Eddie Kingston because that was his big coming face moment, and it kind of looked like a buffoon. And Kingston and Moxley, and since that pay per view, kind of explained it. What happened and why he did it, and it made sense. Listen, um, they they blamed, they were making fun of the bomb not going off. They thought that probably Impact made it. Kingston was saying that he kind of he did what he did because he was you know because something I think he said he was traumatized or when he was younger by certain. They tried to make the best out of a absolute horrible situation. And I like Moxley is a good promo, definitely. And I think him and Kingston together are going to be a good tandem. A good they feed well off of each other. And you can tell that they genuinely like each other. They've been friends for quite some time. So it was horrible. Yeah, there should have been something done on the fly, but Kingston and Moxley have kind of tried their best to kind of back out of that horrible ending of a pay per view. AEW news as well. Um, by the way, as you could see, the Macho Man shirt. Um, AEW, another faction here. For another faction, and this is Pinnacle. They call themselves Pinnacle, where you have FTR. You're gonna have Tully Blanchard. You're gonna have Shawn Spears. You have the big guy Warlow, and then there you go, and you have MJF. Dressed as $1,000,000. Dressed as $1,000,000. Um, MJF a damn good promo as we all know. Um, kind of he sold he sold everyone in the group, even Spears, who hasn't had the best of luck. Definitely sold the hell out of Warlow, FDR, Tully Blanchard. Now, by the way, Pinnacle, okay? You are the Pinnacle. But as far as self tanners, listen, if MGF, if you are the Pinnacle, then you should have someone to spray to do your fake tan for you, because that was the only thing I could look at was MJF's terrible, terrible, um, just terrible um, self tan. I don't know what was going on, but that looked absolutely horrible. Now, um, well, one thing I just hope, um, that that's 4 or 5. You hope that you have to. Right now in Pinnacle, there's a great number of guys. You just have to be cautious that you're not, um, hiring, you know, um, too many um, people. Hold on for me 1 second here. For me 1 second here. I want to get into a few other things. Fastlane.
Welcome to another edition of From the Bleachers Sports Show. It's me, your
and
buddy, your
NWA.
amigo, Tom, and I beg you and
Do
implore you
want
to
to
hit the
do
like button, the subscribe button,
take a quick break here.
notification bell.
Here's an old video.
A lot to me.
Rest in peace, Joe
when
Hudson,
COVID happened,
Josephus.
kind of threw my favorite, what was really
Be right
was a
back, guys.
big fan, still am a big fan of NWA, and I hope that somehow, some way, we see NWA back on our TV screens. Big fan of NWA. The reboot. They had something going there. It was on a little bit of a momentum, and then COVID happened, and kind of everything fell apart. But I was a big fan of Josephus, or the question mark, as you may know it. The character, and it's a shame when NWA is rebooted. Well, not rebooted, when it kind of went more, I guess, mainstream with the internet show that they had on YouTube. You really didn't get to see the character Josephus. I think he only seen him like maybe once or twice, and it wasn't even. It was kind of just a matter of like a whole hump kind of a deal thing, where he was just there in a battle royal, I believe. Um, we see more of the question mark in later episodes. You know,
Hmm?
brilliant portrayal, particularly of Josephus. Well, you know, he passed away
Almost.
today. Mr. Hudson passed away.
Babe,
It's unknown as
I'm
to
not gonna
what exactly was the cause. I
stop
think
it after I'm not finished.
Dutch Mantel was saying that it might have been either a stroke or an aneurysm. Results still pending. He had a young son, which is tragic in itself. He also portrayed he portrayed Brody Lee in the Vice documentary as well, the Josephus. He was working backstage when you know for NWA Power as well. So he did everything with NWA, and just a great damn character. Joseph is kind of like this cult. You do yourselves a favor. Look at the video. There's a video there when he was back in 2017. It's on NWA's YouTube page where he was feuding with Tim Storm back then, and there was a vignette with him and his spiritual advisor. Beautiful vignette, beautiful development of a character, just really dark, really sinister. Reminds me of Kevin Sullivan from the Territory days. And you've got different variations of this type of character, or kind of a cult leader. CM Punk comes to mind with the Straight Edge Society. Well, this is, actually Josephus was actually a little bit more darker, but there are variations. You had CM Punk with the Straight Edge Society. You could even say that maybe even Seth Rollins played a part of that character to a degree. Just great character work. You have to look at the vignettes. Really dark, really sinister. Had the whole look, had the beard, had the long hair. Kind of very David Koresh-like spiritual advisor. It was a good character. And then you had the question mark, which, very, very generic, like kind of like a creative pro wrestler. Very generic look. Had the tights, was under a mask, and was the sensei of Mongrovian karate, I believe. Which I'll be honest, and he was prepared with Aaron Stevens, Shooter Stevens, and with the Mongrovian karate, with the question mark. I wasn't so much a big fan of that. Now the question mark was funny because all he would do basically is like grunt. But I wasn't like a big fan of that pairing, that character. But it's not for everyone. But that Josephus character, Josephus rather, Josephus character, amazing. Um, Rest in peace to a great wrestler. Rest in peace to Mr. Hudson.
All right. Again, you can find all that on YouTube.com as well. And we're back. Do want to get into a little bit of Andrade, but I have to bid the the audio portion of Cleanpin adieu. So, guys, again, thank you for listening. On the audio side, video side, do stick with me, and then we'll kind of finish and wrap this up. Um, but again, guys, on the audio side, youtube.com from the Bleachers Sports Show. Cleanpin. This has been Cleanpin. Thank you so much for your time. I hope all is well. All right, here we are, guys. We're gonna take this home and to just talk about Andrade for a little bit there. Andrade has, in fact, asked for his release. Um, he was, kind of on, and it's weird because when you think of Andrade, you think about I don't know what you guys think about, but I think what comes to mind is, gee, where can we start? NXT Gargano versus Andrade. I think that's a good place to begin. What a damn match! What a damn match! Andy, the saying always kind of it's been said a couple of times, and and we're maybe here we are again at this same situation where I don't think Vince truly watches NXT. Like he doesn't watch it. Like he probably is like, I already watched too much wrestling. I got too much going on. There's a limit as to what I watch and what I don't watch. And that's why I think this disconnect happens often when you have athletes coming up from NXT to WWE. It's almost like their kiss of death. The end. Final verdict. Sayonara. Adios. Don't ever come back. Or maybe you should kind of campaign to stay here in wherever you're staying, because no one on the main roster will understand you. And I kind of feel like that's what kind of happened to Andrade. Um, Paul Heyman was running. Paul Heyman was running Raw. He wanted to give the new guys a shot, develop the new guys. That's what he was doing. He was rolling out guys that were young, trying to make a name for themselves. You had Andrade. You had guys like Aleister Black, Ricochet. These type of guys that Paul Heyman liked and wanted to get out there to get some exposure were thrown out on TV. And then Paul Heyman's no longer part of Raw. And now Vince kind of looks at these guys, and it's a new writing staff that comes in, and they don't like them. They don't like these guys. Ah, well, why are they being pushed? What's so special about them? Put him off. Put him off. I don't know these guys. And I think that's the problem. Vince doesn't know these guys. What makes them, or why they're being called up? Like it's like once you get up, it's like sink or swim. No help whatsoever. And they go from he goes from being on TV to sitting in catering. And what can you say? Really, Andrade, even being um, engaged to Charlotte Flair, unfortunately, won't work. So now he's been sitting in catering and is wondering if he could come back. And that's going to be tough. He apparently doesn't even think that he's going to be back, which is why he asked his release. Certain times, certain things kind of get you know thrown to you. The NWA was coming back. And I still am a big NWA fan. And I'll give you the card. So let's see here. Try and give you the card here. Um, Back for the attack this Sunday, which is actually when and I'll do Fastlane predictions on a separate video. Try to keep this short and sweet here for you guys. Back for the attack. Um, so a lot of I've loved, still love NWA, and the presentation that it had for NWA Power. I like that feel to a wrestling, and you know they're back. They're doing pay-per-view now. See, I don't know if it's going to work. I hope it does. You are already charging to be determined, right? So you wonder if NWA could come back into uh, dominance. Uh, and I hope they can. You're gonna have Trevor Murdoch versus Chris Adonis, formerly the Master Lock. Um, and that's going to be for the NWA TV Championship. Trevor Murdoch, in which that's currently the belt that he holds. So you have Trevor Murdoch versus Chris Adonis. I think this one will be, I don't know, Trevor Murdoch with someone from Chris Adonis's camp tries to kind of trying to cover up. Mm-hmm. Now, they're coming back, and so Murdoch versus Adonis. I think you're gonna have Murdoch win with Adonis trying to cheat and gets disqualified. Just big. Just going back. They're doing pay per view, and they get that they have been out for a long period of time. But was charging for your first event back. Smart idea. I don't know. Maybe you could have um, held out for it a little bit more. That's you know my 2 cents on it. You gotta you know deal with deal with it however you see fit. I'm trying to get the card here for you. Let's see. 1 second, guys, as the internet's doing here. Mm-hmm. All right, finally found the card, guys. I'm gonna Bruce Stewart. There was some dead air there. So we have Nick Aldis versus Aaron Stevens. Be interesting to see if there's anyone playing face or heel in this one, and who. But I think we'll see Nick Aldis retain. Elijah Burke versus Tom Latimer. Um, geez. Elijah Burke. Number one contender. It's funny because we already seen this at AEW. Thunder Rosa versus Camille. And Crimson versus Jack Dane versus Jordan Clearwater versus Slice. Fatal four way. And you will be Crimson versus Jack Dane versus Jordan Clearwater versus Octane. Mm-hmm. So you have Crimson versus Jack Dane versus Gordon. All right, Thunder Rosa versus Camille. We've seen both of these. I think you're gonna give it to Camille. Crimson versus Jack Daniel versus Jordan versus Boogie. And now the fatal four way again. Crimson versus Jackson Dames versus Clearwater versus Night Boogie. And that would be the final. And for that match, I think we're going. That match, I think we will go. Crimson coming back, so you got to give Crimson an opportunity here. Crimson taking the win. Crimson taking the win. Yep, I think that's it, guys. I think Crimson with victory there will kind of bring it home. And sorry about the dead air there. I was trying to put everything together last couple of minutes there. But, you know, NWA is back. It's back. It's better than not being back. You know, they were really infected, as were all of us infected. But these guys are definitely good people. So, don't forget.